Hello, guys. Welcome, Team Easy Dating. We are here again for the Get Love Now Summit. Yes. All right. We've got one of my good friends that I've known for a little bit here, Denise Dominguez. Denise, say hi.
Hey!
Yes, Denise is here. Yes. All right. Denise, I'm so excited she's here because she's going to talk about own your story so your story doesn't own you. And I love this because I have no idea what the heck she's going to talk about. So Denise, what does it mean to own your story?
Oh, first of all, Mike, thank you for having me here. It's such an honor to work with you again, and which it's not really work, but I love your energy. Like you just set the tone right there for the whole interview with your excitement and yes. Okay. Okay, own your story so your story doesn't own you. To give you a little backdrop of how I came up with that, and actually that's my signature speech, is I was very stuck in my story for years. And my story had a lot of shame in it, a lot of embarrassment, a lot of guilt. And it was in 2014 when I got into the coaching world, and my mentor said, Denise, you have to tell your story. And I was like, no, I can't, no. Because there was a time when I couldn't utter a word, a sentence without just going into the ugly cry about my story. So when she said this, I was so resistant. I was like, oh, no. And this was, Mike, this was just typing it out. This wasn't even like face-to-face or having a conversation with somebody. This was just like an email going back and forth. So I trusted her and I trusted what she was saying I needed to do. So I took a deep breath, and I even remember typing in the email with shaking hands, here I go. And I did it. And yes, I was crying, and yes, and all of that. But when I released that, it had no longer had power over me. So when you own your story doesn't have power over you. But when you let your story own you, you have shrunk down and you have let that shame and guilt and whatever's in that story own you. And as long as you stay there, you're there. So it takes that first step, even in an email, to tell somebody your story or a bit of your story, or even just to start it, that you start releasing the emotional poison. That's what I call it.
All right. So you've obviously got very good at telling your story, and now you've made me really want to know it. And I think everybody wants to know what's the story.
Oh God. Okay. Well, I'm going to have to give you bullet points because it's 22 years of drama, trauma, chaos.
Okay.
So I was married for 22 years, and I was in an abusive relationship. I was married to a narcissist and an addict. But here's the thing, Mike, I didn't know he was a narcissist. Like, when I tell you that the blonde is blonde, the blonde is blonde. and I even remember saying to him, I know it's your world, we're just living in it, but I didn't connect, put the pieces together. So you can be in an abusive relationship, and you can be in an abusive relationship and, experience that abuse, but you can't be in a relationship with a narcissist and not have abuse. You just can't. It goes hand in hand. So through 22 years, I was trying to be the best wife that I could be. I was trying to be the best mom, and I was just giving. And when you do that, you give too much, and I was literally pouring from an empty cup. It came to a point where I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I had finally endured enough abuse that it overpowered my self-abuse, and I left. And I left with having no job in Florida. That's where I'm from. And no job in North Carolina, where I'm at now. I manifested money, enough money for me to leave. And I left Florida with a futon couch and an air mattress. That was it. And I left the abusive relationship, and that, I started all over again. So that's the basic bullet points of what I went through and how I came out of it. And I moved here to North Carolina and started a new life, and voila, it's amazing.
Wow, Denise, that is amazing. Hold on. I need to know this, and I think everybody needs to know this. What was like the epiphany moment where you're like, I'm getting the heck out of here? What was that one moment that, boom, you're out of here?
That is such an awesome question, Mike, because my ex, his behaviors were, so what I teach my clients what energy they're showing up in the world. So that be woman energy. So imagine a triangle: woman energy, mother energy, daughter energy. Well, I was in total mother energy, right? And when you're in a relationship with someone, husband, spouse, you have to be man, woman. You can't be mother, child. So because I was showing up in mother energy, he was showing up in child energy. So he was doing things that, irresponsible, crazy things. So that moment was when he once again went crazy, and he ended up in the hospital, and tubes were coming out of his mouth, and he was literally tied to the bed. And I looked over in the hospital room and I said, I'm checking out of Crazy Town. Like, I can't do this anymore. This is beyond what I had ever endured in my whole entire life. And so it was that moment of seeing him like that and realizing that my world was crazy. Like, I was living a crazy, crazy novella. I basically told the doctors, like, here's the truth. This is what it is. And give me 48 hours to get my crap and get out. And that's what happened.
Oh my
That
Lord.
was the moment. Yeah.
Denise, you are like so strong. Like you did it for so long, and I'm just like so impressed.
Oh, thanks.
That's amazing. I don't think when we talked last time you ever fully told me the story, and now I'm like enamored. Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm like in total shock because I didn't know this was the story, but let's keep moving. All right.
Okay.
So you're amazing.
Thank you. So are you.
Thank you. What about like, the woman watching here, how can they start to tell their own story? How can they tell their own story?
Okay. So how they can tell their own story is pretty much what I did. They have to, number one, choose and honor them, and then find somebody that they trust, whether that's a friend or a coach or somebody, and just start to tell their story. So even in an email, it doesn't matter, but just release that emotional poison. So the first step is just to, like I did, just get it out. Even if you give a bullet point to what happened, but once it's just like writing. When you write a book, you write a chapter or a blog or anything, just getting started is really the hardest part. But once you get started, things start to flow out of you. So just find somebody you trust and just start the flow of the process of releasing that emotional poison.
Great. What about the viewer that's watching that, no one's going to be able to, or it's going to be very difficult to match like your story, which was intense. What about like the viewer that maybe, had a pretty good childhood and had a pretty good life? What about them telling their story? How's that different than, the traumatic person that really needs to get it out there?
That is an awesome question. And here's the thing. I thought my story wasn't even that bad. And I remember when I dove deep into my personal growth, I was in a group with other women and they were telling their stories. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Like my story, and I even said to them, I don't feel like I belong here because you guys have such tremendous things that have happened to you, traumatic things that have happened to you. And I feel like mine is really not that bad because they have been through, sexual abuse and physical abuse and all of that. And they said, no, your story is just as important as ours. So to that woman who's watching, Mike, I would say that her story, no matter what it is just as important as mine or yours or anybody else's.
All right. So once you tell your story, and I'm terribly sorry. We're going off on a tangent, but I've got to know.
That's okay.
You've told your story. How do you start to like rebuild and get your femininity back and get your person back and your self-love and just get out there again and live?
So that is definitely a layer process. And the first part of that layer is what we've talked about, is to just release that emotional poison and to get it out there, to have somebody that you can confide in and trust. For me, it was through coaching. Having a coach guide me, hold my hand when I needed it, or kick my butt when I needed it, guide me through that process. And because a coach is going to have the tools to give to you to get to those layers. Because once you tell your story, then you're like, okay, now what? What do I do now? You know, because just like as a building is torn down, there's a process for the building to get built back up. And if you want to restructure that building to be different, like you said, then there's a lot of plans in place that need to be taken care of. And there's a lot of watching and taking care of. And it's the same thing with us. There's layers for us to rebuild our lives. So that's the first step, is to have somebody that has been through an experience and has the tools to give to you to keep you shedding, peeling, and healing the layers to get to, you know, like for somebody like me and you, Mike, who are where we are now after, you know, what we've been through.
Okay. So let's go the reverse direction. So what if like the person's had a really, really traumatic experience and it's just way too painful to tell their story? What do they do?
So all of us have this, okay. That's so awesome. Okay. I'm going to go deep here.
Yes.
We are all born with healthy emotional bodies. That means when we're born, we don't have issues, right? We haven't been through anything. We're pure, we're innocent, we're like an empty canvas. And then as we grow up through our environment, whether that's being raised by parents or even school, media, whatever, we get layered with the muck of life, right? We get layered. By the time we get into adulthood, we're too busy now, because now we have careers, or we get married, or we have kids, and we're like, oh, I can't, that happened a long time ago. I can't deal with that. And we push that part of us down deeper. So we all have, as we get older, emotional poison, emotional wounds, right? So the fact that just knowing that, having that awareness is huge right there. So no matter what, the person has to release, well, first be aware that they have emotional wounds, which I just explained. Like, we're all born one way, and then through life, we come out another way. So, Mike, your wounds may be less deep than mine, or vice versa, but we all have wounds. So depending on, like, if I get a client and she has really deep wounds, like she's been through a very traumatic experience in her life, then I have to go deeper with her than I do a client who comes to me and maybe has gone through some self-development and her wounds are not as deep as the person next to her. So for me, it just depends on where they're coming to me and how deep their wounds are. We're all wounded. That's just how it is. But we do have different layers of our wounds. So like I said, one could be deeper than the other. And it's just about going in and healing it. And how you heal your emotional wounds is just how you heal an actual physical wound. So with a physical wound, what do? First we go, oh gosh, there it is. And then we're like, what do I do to take care of it? So we put medicine, we clean it out, we put medicine on it, we watch it, we take care of it, we watch it start shrinking and healing, right? So we keep it covered, we put medicine, we take the Band-Aid off so it airs out, we pay close attention to it. It's the same thing with our emotional wounds. We pay close attention to who we are. We love and take care of who we are. We honor who we are. And through that, we release the emotional poison, and then we're healed. And there's always going to be a scar, But guess what? That's okay, because everything in our life is a gift to us,
Ooh,
including the wounds.
I like that analogy. That was perfect. All right, so let me get this process right, because I've got my man brain and I'm like trying to go down a path here. So we told our story. Then we started executing a plan, and like maybe in your case, like if we use your example, it's like, all right, I'm getting the heck out of here. So I'm going to North Carolina, out of Florida. So start executing the plan. And now we're like in this stage of self-love and self-improvement and trying to get back to center, if you will. So how do women, like why is self-love so important, first off?
It's the foundation of everything. Self-love is the foundation to having everything. Because here's the thing, Mike, we're not taught self-love by our parents, unless you got some parents who have been through self-development themselves. But generally, we're not. It's not taught in school. What we're taught is how to behave, how to obey, how to read, how to write. So our brains are wired and we're programmed to act and do and say things a certain way. And self-love is not even in there. So when you check that out, you are worth that, and you honor yourself, and you start diving deep into self-love, your whole world changes. So your finances change, your relationships change. Like, it's like you've opened up doors just from practicing self-love every day.
That is awesome. All right, so you're loving yourself. What are like some actionable items to actually do this whole love yourself thing?
So that's a great question, because some people think that it has to be like this ginormous thing you have to do every day. And I always like to give simple, sweet examples, because it doesn't have to be some, giant. I coach women, so I'm going to go with like women stuff. Okay. So me time. And me time could be even like if you're a mom and you have kids and you have like a chaotic life, just having some quiet time to yourself is important. You have to take care of you before you can take care of anybody else. So even if that means like before the kids get up in the morning, you go out on your back patio or whatever your sacred space is, and you have your cup of coffee or your cup of tea, and you just, even if you just meditate, sit in silence, or read your favorite book, or whatever it is that you enjoy doing, that is a practice of self-love. Another example is, ladies, do not wait for a man to buy you flowers, okay? Go buy your flowers yourself.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, and I don't want to hear the excuse that you don't have money to buy a whole bouquet, because even just a single rose is honoring yourself and being kind to yourself and showing yourself that beauty. A single rose on your dining room table or in the kitchen or even your bedroom, every time you pass it and you look at it, it's a reminder to yourself that you did something for you. So those are just two examples of doing something that's totally simple, not a lot of money, and you can do for yourself. That's two examples of practicing self-love.
I absolutely love those. Those are both perfect, and especially the first one, because I notice this in women all the time. Like even my girlfriend, she does not always take care of herself first. Like I love it about her. Like she'll take care of me. She'll take care of, she's got 5 nephews. She's got a huge family of 100 people. And
wow.
She's always worrying about all of them before herself. And like sometimes she'll like skip lunch because she's just so busy taking care of them. And I'm like, her little nephews, I'm like, Kelly, you got to have lunch. Like if you don't have energy, you can't be the best version of yourself to like truly help them. So I pitched it, and I'm pitching it to everyone out there. Like if you're not good, you can't provide to everyone else. So take care of yourself, and then you can get out there and do your thing.
Yeah, that's where you can't pour from an empty cup comes from.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, you can't. There's nothing there.
All right, Denise. Bonus question. All right, so we've got these women out there that are just total rock stars. what else can they do to like make themselves, since this is focused around dating, what can they do to like just make their lives so much better and more enriched and get back out there and start dating?
Besides practicing self-love?
Yeah, give me something else. That was perfect. Or give me another example or something.
Oh, okay. Know your worth. Know your worth, ladies. Oh my gosh. I have some horrible, but yet funny, hilarious dating stories. Mike, if you ever write a book and you want like somebody to tell you some dating stories, I have some doozies, because when I was dating after I left that 22-year marriage, remember, I was in an abusive relationship. So my self-worth was extremely low. My self-confidence and all of that was so low. So the guys that I was attracting into my life, oh God, really, really bad. So know your worth. Know that you are a freaking rock star and you are so worth everything. Like, don't settle for some dude that, you know, I don't want to label anybody, but just know your worth. Know that you're worth whatever it is that you desire in life. So, you know, we attract who we are and not what we want. So that's important to know and to realize that every person outside of us is mirroring to us who we are, whether we know it or not, whether we can see that or not. So, for example, when I was married, my ex was mirroring to me things that I didn't know or see about myself. So what a gift that is. When I left and I dove into self-development, I attracted, like my guy now, amazing, treats me with such respect, honors me, loves me. He's just, I'm in the first time in my life, I'm in a healthy relationship.
Yes. Congratulations.
So know your worth. Know your worth.
Denise, all right, so you're in this healthy relationship now, and obviously you had a somewhat traumatic past. Do you find that you need additional reassurance from this relationship now?
Reassurance. Well, clarify that a little bit more. Reassurance of what? Like, oh, you're so pretty.
Good question. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, so I guess you've kind of got your guards up right now, or you may have had your guards up after the 22-year relationship. So let's go that direction. How did you get rid of the guards, and so that you're, you know, back to being normal Denise and could go out there and be like a rock star and date with confidence?
My journey. That's a great question. It was my journey. It was my journey of dating these guys. It was because they were showing me my stuff, right? And so it was my journey. So what happened is I kept dating the same type of guy over and over again. And I was like, okay, wait a minute, Denise. These people don't know each other. And the common denominator here is me. So in that moment, I was like, I need to like just take a step back, focus on me, and just take care of me. And what that led to was the personal development and growth and getting to know myself and loving myself and practicing that so that I could be the best version of me in order to attract the best person for me to be in a relationship with. Does that make sense?
Yes. All right, next. How do you use your past to actually have it add value in your current relationship?
Oh gosh, because I've learned so much from the past. I've learned so much. So I was a really crappy communicator in my past, right? I would shut down and, you know, whatever. So communication's a big one. I force myself to communicate better. If there's ever a heated moment, like in the past, I would just go off on a tangent and just like, I was a wild woman, like just throw stuff and like run over people. Now, if I get into a heated moment, I take a step back, let myself cool off, come to some reasoning thoughts, and like you said, have a plan of what I'm going to say and how am I going to approach myself in saying that, because your body language says everything. So if I'm like, well, we need to talk, that's different than approaching sweet and soundly and say, we need to talk. Like so for me, I need like 30 minutes to an hour to cool off. I got a lot of Irish in me, Mike. So that's just two examples of the lessons that I've learned from the past. None of us want to repeat the past once we recognize like how dysfunctional it was, but it really just boils down to taking care of yourself and going into personal growth and personal development to peel away all of those layers like we were talking about and to be the best version of us. Because once you do that, you're so much more aware of who you are and where you're going and the direction and how you're going to treat that person. Like, I never claimed to be perfect in my relationship of 22 years. I was not perfect and I made so many mistakes. However, it takes two to tango. And so he was showing me my crap and I was showing him his crap. But one of us came out of it and was like, oh, and grew from that. So you have to take your life experiences, your past relationships, your past hurts, the past people that hurt you in your life, and take them as gifts, because there's gifts in all of our garbage, and take it as lessons. What did I learn from that 22 years? What am I not going to carry into my relationship now? And so it really boils down to loving yourself and honoring yourself and saying, I'm not going to repeat that again. This is a whole new person, a whole new, time, and I'm a new person. So the past is over.
Ooh, I love it. So you stand up for yourself.
Yes.
All right, Denise, I'm going to test you.
Oh, good.
This is what I do. I gotta push a little bit. What is like the best and like the sexiest and the most fun way that you set boundaries on either your boyfriend or past guys where he actually enjoys it and it's a good experience, where you kind of push the brakes, but like the guy's like, oh, okay, this is good. I like Denise.
Sex. Ladies, hold off.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so when you get into a new relationship, there's a test between the man and the woman. Like, okay, Mike, you're a guy, clearly. And guys have two emotions. They're either horny or hungry. And so am I right?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm hungry right now.
I'm so glad you went with that H word. So, so when you get into, you're starting to date somebody, like you just said, Mike, there's going to be the testing and the boundaries, right? Because a guy and a girl, they're going to test and see how far they can go. A girl might even do this too. Like, how quickly can I get in the sack with him, right? For me, that's the biggest thing, because your body is your temple and you have to honor your body. And so jumping into bed with somebody that you barely know, you're just, don't do it. Just don't do it. So setting the boundaries would be when that conversation comes up, and if the guy asks you, like, what do you want in the future, or where do you see this going, or questions like that, you just be totally open and honest. And you say, even if you think that he's talking about sex, you say, listen, I have this time period before, I need to get to know somebody before I will take this to the next level. So you have to set the boundaries way in the beginning. And guys will so respect you for that. Like, the more boundaries, the more he'll respect you. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Way more respect.
Yeah.
All right, but let's get into it. Like, because I need like actual like examples. So let's pretend like you're on date number 4 and you're not ready to have sex yet. And the guy starts, kissing on you, but you're not ready. How do you, tell him like, this can't happen yet, but do it in a fun way so that it's not like totally putting a block on it, but remaining true to yourself and like preventing what you don't want to do yet?
Okay, so kissing usually in my world leads to some hands going places, right? So when even before the hand lands on the mountains, I mean, if that's where he starts, maybe he goes for the valley. I don't know. But if he starts with the mountains, like you take his hand and you gently push it away and you state your boundary and say, I really like you. I you know, like this feels good and you're a great guy. But right now to take this to the next level is not where I'm at right now. And I hope you understand. I'm just being completely honest with you right now. And I mean, I don't know what's going to happen on 5th or 6th date, but right now in this moment, I'm not ready for that. And he will respect that.
Oh my God. That was like the best answer. I love it. Like, so let me break this down, what she did, because this is so important. So first thing, she complimented, like, oh, you are so hot. And like, trust me, I at some point I want to do this and this is feeling good. That's what she said. Like, this is great. So he doesn't, like, men have very fragile egos. If you tell me like that I'm kissing you wrong or I'm touching you wrong, I'll be like, ugh, I don't know if I could see this again because I have such an ego. Like, I want to know that I'm the man and I'm like getting it done. So she solved that problem for me. So I'm doing good. But she also kept the boundary of, well, this isn't happening yet. But she went a step further, which I've not heard anyone teach. And I'm so excited about this. The third step, she goes, maybe date 5, date 6, date 7, things will be different. So you're like giving him hope. The guy's like, oh, I just got to try a little harder. Maybe if I get her flowers or maybe if I dinner and we get to know each other better and I really dive into her soul, well, then eventually I'm going to get sex. So he's like, oh, I got to try harder. And that's what you want. You want a guy to try harder. So that was amazing. That was a great answer. Yeah, nailed it.
So I wanna bring this out because it's popping in my head. I feel like I need to say it, Mike. And I know you know this because you're a guy, but ladies, men are fixers. They like to fix things. So whether that be physically or mentally, emotionally. So when we say to them, I'm not ready for this. I like you a lot. This feels really good. But right now in this moment, I'm not ready for this. And I'm being completely honest. Then he's going to go immediately into what can I, like you just said, Mike, what can I do that she feels comfortable in doing this? Because you guys are so physical. And that's how you express your love. You express your love through bodily fluids being exchanged. We're all adults here. It's honesty.
Nice. All right, Denise. Last thing. Okay. I'm not going to ask you a question. I just want you to go whatever direction you want to go. What is one thing you want to tell the ladies that will help them in their self-love and self-improvement journey?
Okay, so what just came up in my head was that the majority of the clients that come to me the women that come to me are very stuck. And like we were talking about before, Mike, so they might be stuck in their story, they might be stuck in the past, they might be stuck in an experience, whatever, how traumatic or not traumatic it was, it doesn't matter, they're stuck. And as long as you relive that story, that experience, or what that person did to you in your head, you're going to stay stuck. So it's a choice. So imagine that you're on a road and it starts to fork out, right? And you have to the right, your choice is to stay in that story, stay in that energy, that low vibrational energy, or you could go to the left and choose, make a decision that I am going to get out of this. I don't know how, and I don't know where to go, but I'm not going there. I'm going here. All it is a simple choice. It's a decision to make for yourself to go, I'm going this way. And then once you open up the doors to that, one thing will lead to another. The universe wants you to be prosperous and happy and enjoy life. That's what is your divine right. So by you going this way, doors start to open, people, opportunities start to come to you. When you go here and you stay stuck, you just like swirl around in the same crap. You attract the same situations, the same people, and nothing changes until you make that decision to get out of it.
Yeah, I love that. And
I'm very visual. Can you tell? I have to give like visual examples.
I am, yes. And I love what you did with the language to mindset thing. So I want to talk about that real quick, if you don't mind. Is that all right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So the language was like, I am going to fix this. It's going to happen. And then once you say, I am going to do something, it goes in your brain and it's like, it must happen. But if you say something like, all right, you're stuck, and it's like, I'm going to try to leave this. I'm going to try to leave Florida and go to North Carolina. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try. No, you're not going to try. You're not going to do your best. This is happening. This is what I'm doing. I am 100% getting the heck out of here. There is nothing in this universe that will stop me.
That's right.
Once you have these words and you put it out into the world, like into the universe, like Denise said, you're going. You're out of there. So start using language that means something that gives you accountability. Not like, I'm going to do my best. No, it's happening. And you can use that in your work life too. When your boss says, hey, I need something, like, yes, it is going to be there 100%. Not I'm going to try to do it. It is done, and your boss is going to love that.
Great point. Trying is a disempowering word.
It is.
Should is I should do this, or I could do this. Those are all disempowering words. And so when you give that vibration out to the universe always bounces back to you what you're giving out. So when you say, oh, like you had as an example, try, then you stay in that try. Versus, here was my energy, Mike, when I left. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm out of here, and I'm leaving, and I'm going to have a job in a certain amount of time, and I'm going to have a place to live in a certain amount of time. So here I am in the 28-foot Penske truck, blonde hair, green eyes, driving from Florida to North Carolina. I had a job in less than 4 weeks. I had an apartment in 4 days, and I was good to go.
That's how you do it. You said you're going to do it. You did it.
Yeah, and I keep doing it.
And keep doing it. All right, Denise, I learned so much from you today. This was fabulous.
Awesome.
So what I'm going to do, I know Denise has a free gift. So everyone, I'm putting it down below, and all you got to do is click the link and you get it. Denise, what is your free gift for everybody?
Oh, awesome. So it is my self-love training call. Like, what else would I talk about, Mike, but self-love? It's a 90-minute self-love training call where you will discover how to push through your negative talk, because that's extremely important, what it means to have self-love, and all the ways to practice self-love. So that's just a few of the things that are in this 90-minute training call. I redo it every couple of months because the more I learn, the more I like to give. So I refresh the call so that I could give and serve as much as possible. So that's my free gift. And I believe there's a link in there to set up a complimentary call with me. But the biggest thing is that they're going to get the 90-minute training call.
Oh, my God. Denise. Well, first off, I got to say, like, the first thing that came to my brain is you're absolutely insane because you're giving away 90 minutes for free. But then the second thing that came to my brain is like, all right, there are people out there that are having a really tough time, and Denise, like, legitimately wants to help you.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that about Denise because you are a giver, and it is so, 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 so apparent. It's just coming through the screen at us. And this is beautiful. Denise, thank you so much for doing what you do. And I'm just enamored by your story and how you help people. So thank you so much. That's amazing.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be on your panel. This is a little bit of a reverse, but you're right. This is how we got to connect and meet. And so thank you for providing this for the listeners, because I feel like this is so important. You know, you're mainly talking about dating because you're a dating coach, but what is the foundation of that? To date successfully and to have the tools in your toolbox to do that, it all boils down to showing up as the best person that you are.
Absolutely. Well, we needed to have this piece of it because if we have women out there that are in these situations, you're not going to date or you're not going to do anything unless you fix your situation. So this has to happen first.
Yeah.
And thankfully we have Denise to fix and help.
And thankfully we have you to host it
and
provide.
All right, Denise, this was awesome. Thank you so much. I loved every second of it.
Sweet.
Guys, we will see you next time. Thank you, Denise.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.